let's talk about a financial strategy that could completely flip how you think about your career, your money, and, well, your entire life. Today, we're digging into a really powerful idea.
Just really think about that for a second. Imagine grinding it out in your 20s, but by the time you're in your mid-30s, that constant pressure to save is gone. You're not retired, not by a long shot, but you're free. Free to pick a job based on what you love, not just what it pays. All because your retirement fund is already chugging along on its own. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, maybe it's not.
So this isn't just some fantasy. It's actually a structured financial strategy that comes from the FIRE movement. You've probably heard of it. Financial Independence Retire Early. The specific flavor we're talking about today is called Coast FIRE.
Okay, so let's get into it. What exactly is this Coast FIRE thing? It's all about taking the traditional retirement savings plan and turning it on its head. Instead of that slow 40-year savings marathon, think of it more like an all-out sprint for the first decade of your career.
Here's the core idea in a nutshell. You save up a specific chunk of money, let's call it your Coast FIRE number, as early as you possibly can. Once you hit that magic number, you can actually stop contributing to your retirement accounts. Seriously, you just let that pot of money sit there and grow, untouched, all the way to your planned retirement age.
And this is the real game changer. Once your future is locked in, your day-to-day financial life becomes so much simpler. That constant pressure to save, it just evaporates. Your only money goal is to earn enough to pay your bills each month. That can mean taking a lower-stress job you actually enjoy, working part-time, or finally starting that passion project you've always dreamed of.
Now, you're probably wondering, what's the secret sauce here? What's the magic that makes this whole thing work? Well, it's not magic at all. It's just math. It's the absolutely incredible power of compound interest, working its magic over a very, very long time.
This timeline really paints the picture. Imagine you start investing like crazy at age 25. For 10 years, you're super focused. By age 35, boom, you've hit your number. And then you stop. For the next 25 years, from 35 to 60, you don't add another penny. But that initial pile of money just keeps growing and growing, all by itself, until it hits your retirement goal. It's all about letting time do the heavy lifting for you.
You know, the snowball analogy is honestly the perfect way to think about this. The hardest part is just getting that first little snowball packed together at the top of the hill. But once it's big enough and it has a really long hill to roll down, that's your time horizon, it becomes this unstoppable force, getting bigger and faster all on its own. Okay, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But let's get real. What does it actually take to pull this off? What's the game plan? Let's break it down. It really boils down to three things, and these are pretty much non-negotiable. First, you have to start early. The whole model just falls apart without decades for that compounding to work. Second, you gotta save aggressively. We're not talking about a 10% savings rate here. This usually means putting away 30, 40, maybe even 50% of your income in those early years. And third, that money needs to be invested for growth, which almost always means putting it in equities.
And that gets to a fundamental truth about building wealth. The financial choices you make when you're 25 have a way bigger impact on your final net worth than the choices you make when you're 45. That extra decade or two of compounding just changes the entire equation.
You know, this idea really lines up with what financial writers like Morgan Housel talk about, that time and your behavior are often way more powerful than some super complex financial strategy. Coast FIRE is a perfect example of using time as your single greatest asset.
So let's bring this all home. What's the real payoff for all that early effort? And what's the first step you can take if this idea is sparking something for you, especially for our viewers in India?
Because at the end of the day, the why behind all this is the most important part. This isn't just about spreadsheets and account balances. It's about designing a totally different kind of life. It's the freedom to do meaningful work, the peace of mind knowing your future is taken care of, and the ability to shift your focus from just saving money to actually living your life. For young professionals, that's an incredibly powerful way to think about the future.
But hey, don't just take my word for it. Think of this as your starting point, a little spark. If you're intrigued, your next step is to do your own homework. Look up terms like Coast FIRE India to find info that's tailored to our local context. You'll find tons of online calculators that let you plug in your own numbers and see what might be possible for you.
And that's the question I really want to leave you with. It's a personal one, and the answer is going to be different for every single one of us. But just exploring that question, that might open up a future you never even thought was possible. Thanks for tuning in.